A woman in worn boots shoulders a Barrett 50 on a dusty Nevada range. The SEAL chief watches her breathe, squeeze, and erase a target 3 kilometers out. Then he learns the truth. Sarah Brown already holds a 3,247-meter kill record, one she was never supposed to use again. But today, someone just made her open the case. The road looked tired. Dust clung to the sage. Sun burned the horizon flat. A single range line cut the valley. Dented steel targets stood like mute jurors. Sarah Brown stepped out of the old truck. She kept her hands low. She watched the wind the way sailors watch a sky. Her jacket hung loose. Her cap had a salt ring. She looked small beside the long rifle case. Chief Marcus Rourke stood back. Big shoulders. Quiet boots. 23 years in the teams had trimmed his words to bone. He studied how people handled gravity. The big gun made most folks stiff. Sarah didn't change. She opened the case. The Barrett lay there, black and patient. Foam hugged it like a secret. The rubber pad had nicks. The bolt face shone. The bore was midnight. Beneath the rifle lay a watch. The crystal was spidered. The second hand stuck at 0317. She slid it on anyway. The strap bit her wrist. She didn't flinch. "You sure about the 50? He asked. "I want to hear the air argue." Her voice was flint. He set the distances. 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. Beyond that, heat stacked like glass. Mirage built cities that didn't exist. He felt old sand under his tongue. She assembled the rifle. Her motions were small and exact. She moved like someone who had paid for every extra gesture and could not pay again. She checked the chamber and the bolt. She laid the rifle down. Then she pulled an empty wallet from her jacket and put it near the bipod. He raised an eyebrow. "Reminds me what's missing," she said. She took a grease-scarred range book from a side pocket. The front leaf had tight notes: pressure, density, altitude, drift. The last line was blank. It looked like a dare. Flags flicked to the right, then paused. Then leaned left. The wind had questions. Sarah went prone. She snugged in. She set the broken watch against the stock like a talisman. She breathed. She let the dirt accept her weight. The valley got quiet. The shot slapped the day. The 2,000 rang and rocked. The echo came late like a rumor. She ran the bolt. 2,500 tilted and clanged. The third steel trembled and flashed a white scar. She didn't smile. She didn't nod. She looked like someone listening to a far room. Rourke let the silence hold. He knew praise could break something you wanted to keep. 3,500, he said. She lifted the empty wallet, opened it. No photo, no card. No anything. She closed it like closing a door. "Not today," his phone buzzed. "One secure ping." He ignored it. The wind faded to a hush. The flags drooped. Heat bled, the air went flat. He knew that kind of quiet. It means somebody has decided for you. A dust plume rose on the far track. A black SUV slid over the berm. Then another. Doors opened. Men in suits. One woman. Hairpinned. Eyes steady, Rourke didn't move. Sarah kept her cheek on the stock. The Barrett lay between her and the visitors like a drawn line. Sarah Brown. The woman called. Sarah's finger took up slack. "Don't," Rourke said. "They're early," Sarah said. "Early for what?" "For taking the watch off my wrist." The woman lifted a folder. Her sticker on the tab read 3,247. The number looked like a scar that learned to speak. Rourke's mouth went dry. He knew that reach. He had done it to others. It never felt clean. He stepped forward one pace. "Range is hot," he said. "We're in the middle of a string." "Chief Rourke," the woman said. "Director Hale, Office of Special Activities. We need Ms. Brown." "No one needs me," Sarah said softly. "They need an outcome." Hale came closer. She didn't blink at the rifle. That was new. "This is time-sensitive." She tapped the folder. "This is why." Sarah slid the broken watch under her cuff. The second hand twitched once and failed. She didn't look up. "What's the backstop?" she asked. "For what?" Hale asked, thrown. "For the shot you haven't told me yet." Hale smiled without warmth. "Clay and stone," she said. "Nothing living." "Then your intel is kinder than mine," Sarah said, another gust. Strong, then gone. The desert held its breath. A thin whine cut the air. A small drone zipped low over the berm and sniffed the tailgate where the folder sat. The sound raised the hair on Rourke's arms. "Wrong pitch. Cheap teeth, don't touch it," Hale said. "We can trace." Sarah rolled left, swung the Barrett off the line and aimed at sky. I'm not touching it, she breathed. I'm wanting it, she pressed. The big rifle roared. Dirt lifted where no target stood. The drone flinched and skittered sideways, then shot straight up. The folder lifted in the backblast. Pages skittered across the dust like fleeing fish. Rourke turned to Hale. You brought a parade, he said. Someone else sent a band, Hale said. The drone hovered higher. Sun burned its belly. The wind stopped again. The flags went dead. The valley seemed to lean in to listen. Sarah didn't chase the papers. She watched the sky. The watch ticked once. Tell me what's in that folder, she said. Tell me fast. Hale met her eyes. A man, a window, a river, a school roof. A shot only you can take. Sarah slid the empty wallet into her pocket. Then you should know, she said, that some windows look like mirrors. She set her cheek to the stock. And some shots you take won't stop echoing. The drone dipped. Hale lifted a hand. Don't fire, she said. The drone dove for the tailgate. Sarah's finger settled, and 3 more SUVs crested the berm. The drone's shadow broke the calm. It buzzed like a wasp over the tailgate, over the folder marked 3247. Hale's suits shouted into radios, but Sarah stayed flat behind the Barrett. She breathed steady. She aimed not at the machine, but at the pocket of air it would enter next. The Barrett thundered. The bullet scissored the sky. The drone jerked, spun, then fled east. It was alive but rattled. Rourke's teeth ached from the echo. He knew that kind of warning shot. It was the kind of mercy you only gave once. Sarah rolled to her side. The broken watch bit her wrist. The second hand shivered. Still frozen at 03:17. She touched it, almost gentle. Not today, she whispered. Hale strode forward, folder in hand. We don't have time for philosophy, Chief. She comes with us. Rourke squared up. She's not under your command. She's under the weight of that number. Hale slapped the folder. 3,247 meters. No one else alive has written a line that long. Sarah stood, brushing grit off her jacket. She picked up her empty wallet and opened it. The photo slot blinked blank. She closed it again, slow. You want me to thread a window? Say it straight. Hale opened the folder. Satellite maps, photos, a red roof school by a river bend. A man in a tan jacket, a time stamped in military block print. Dawn 1 pass, 8 seconds clear. The school sits behind him. Rourke felt his gut lock. A roof, a school. Always something near, always something to lose. Collateral, he asked. Not if she's as good as her record says. Hale's voice was a scalpel. Sarah bent a paperclip until it snapped. She slid the shard into her pocket. She set her jaw. I don't shoot for records. I shoot for silence. She glanced at the dusty road stretching away. You take me. I do it my way. What's your way? Hale asked. Sarah locked the Barrett's case, leaving one latch open. We don't shoot unless hope fits inside the shot. Rourke almost smiled at that. Almost. The sky went quiet again. Too quiet. He felt the shift. He knew the silence before ambush. Then 3 more SUVs came over the berm, tires spitting gravel. Sarah dropped her hand to the open latch. The broken watch ticked once. Engines rumbled low. The second convoy stopped nose to nose with Hale's. Doors opened in rhythm. Different suits. Not hers, not his. Another flag waving. Rourke stepped half a pace in front of Sarah. The desert wind curled around him like a question. A man climbed out of the lead SUV, tall, lean, tie loose, grin wide. The kind of grin that said he already knew the ending. Chief Rourke. Director Hale, Miss Brown, funny we all meet here. Hale's jaw went hard. Langley doesn't belong in this lane. The man spread his arms. Langley's in every lane. He eyed the Barrett case. So that's the one. The long gun for the long ghost. Sarah said nothing. She picked up the empty wallet and held it up between 2 fingers. This is all you'll get from me, she said. She let it fall back to her pocket. Langley's grin slipped just a shade. He turned to Hale. We'll take it from here, our op. Our rules, not yours, Hale snapped. OSA has the tasking. Sarah crouched by the Barrett. She snapped the second latch closed. The sound cut the argument in half. No one owns this. You put me on the ridge. I'll shoot if the air lets me. Not before. The broken watch gleamed in the sun. The second hand jerked a fraction, like it wanted to run but forgot how. Rourke leaned close. You don't have to take this ride. She looked at him. I already did. Years ago. You just didn't see the ticket. The air went flat. Dust swirled near the berm. The sky hummed again. Another drone, bigger, slower, painted with no flag. It dropped low. Too low. Everyone lifted rifles, pistols, orders. Sarah didn't. She lifted her eyes to the sky. She whispered something. Then the drone coughed smoke, tilted, and came nose first at the range. It hit the dirt 20 yards short and erupted in flame. The blast knocked the folder from Hale's hands. Pages scattered across the firing line again, but this time they burned. Sarah stepped forward into the smoke. The wallet heavy in her pocket. The watch heavy on her wrist. She bent and picked up one half-burnt page. A grainy photo. A boy on a roof holding a red kite. Her fingers tightened. The flame licked her glove. She didn't let go. Behind her, Langley's men raised rifles. At her, Rourke shouted, "Don't!" But their triggers twitched. The crack of gunfire tore the air. Suits fired, dirt spat. Echoes leapt between the berms. Hale's men fired back. The range turned to chaos. Sarah didn't run. She stood in the smoke, page in hand, Barrett at her feet. She looked like a statue built of dust. Bullets passed near, but she didn't twitch. Rourke dropped to a knee and returned fire. He counted shots. Too many. Wrong side. Wrong time. Hale crawled behind a tire, radio jammed to her mouth. Code black, repeat code black. Langley's grin was gone. He barked orders. His men pressed hard, rifles snapping. Sarah finally moved. She placed the half-burnt photo into the empty wallet. She closed it like closing a prayer. Then she lifted the Barrett in one clean arc, swung it onto the bipod, and sighted through the smoke. "Target," Rourke yelled. She didn't answer. The rifle bucked. One Langley shooter spun, dropped. Another flinched back. The sound rolled like thunder. Sarah ran the bolt smooth. Fired again. The third SUV's hood erupted. Steam and flame climbed. Men scattered. The broken watch vibrated on her wrist. Sorry 17 shook but didn't advance. Hale screamed over the noise. "We have to move now." Sarah pulled her cheek from the stock. Her face was calm, too calm. She stood and slung the rifle. "Then let's go where the road wants us." Rourke frowned. "What road?" She pointed at the dusty track beyond the berm. It stretched into the horizon, a pale scar leading east. "That one. Always that one." Engines roared. Hale's remaining SUVs pulled up fast. Doors open, shouting. Sarah climbed into the rear, the Barrett case on her knees, the broken watch ticking against steel, the empty wallet in her pocket, heavier now with ash. Rourke slid in beside her. "Hale up front." The convoy peeled away, tires spitting sand. Behind them the range burned, smoke writing black letters in the sky. Sarah closed her eyes. Next time it won't be them. It'll be him. "Him who?" Rourke asked. She didn't open her eyes. "The man in the tan jacket. And if you miss?" She opened her eyes. They were steady, glass-hard. "Then we find out who I really shot all those years ago." The dusty road swallowed them whole. Then a flash bloomed on the horizon. Not behind. Ahead. The blast ahead forced the convoy to brake hard. Dust rose in curtains. Rourke's hand went to his sidearm. Hale's radio barked static. Sarah stepped out first. The watch gleamed cracked light. The air smelled like cordite and dry grass. On the road ahead sat a twisted signpost. Its letters burned away, but its arrow still pointed toward the river. Sarah walked to it. She touched the steel. Warm, fresh. She whispered, "He's closer than you think." Rourke joined her. "How do you know?" She opened the wallet. The half-burnt page with the boy and the red kite stared back. The edges curled with heat. "Because the wind's already nervous." The convoy crawled on, east toward the river bend marked in Hale's folder, toward the roof and the kite and the window. Hours bled. The sun dipped, shadows cut long. Sarah watched the horizon through glass. The Barrett lay across her knees like a promise she didn't want to keep. Finally, the valley opened. The river bent like a sickle. A tin roof caught last light. Sarah breathed. "There," Hale leaned forward. "We'll put you on the ridge." 4 hours until dawn, Sarah nodded. She lifted the broken watch. So 317 stared back. She tapped the glass. "If it moves tonight, I'll trust it. If not—" She didn't finish. Rourke watched her slip the wallet into her chest pocket. "And if the wind changes?" he asked. Sarah's eyes stayed on the red roof. Then the shot was never mine. Engines cut. They rolled into the shadow of the ridge. Teams scattered, silent. Hale pointed up the slope. "That's your perch." Sarah slung the Barrett. She climbed. Dust stuck to her boots. The ridge was thin, sharp, like a knife someone left out too long. She lay down at the top. She set the bipod. She opened the range book. She wrote one word on the margin: hope. The night wind leaned soft. The stars burned cold. The boy's kite sagged against the roof, waiting. Sarah breathed in the desert. She closed her eyes for half a second. Just half. When she opened them, a reflection flashed from the far bank. Not moonlight. Not accident. A signal. Her finger brushed the trigger, and the broken watch ticked 1 second forward. 30:18. The watch hand trembled at 03:18. 1 second stolen back from silence. Sarah felt it pulse against her wrist like a vein that had just remembered how to beat. Through the Barrett's glass, the river bent silver. The boy's kite tugged weakly in the dark air. The tin roof gleamed dull, waiting. And the man in the tan jacket limped out from the grove, shadow long, head low. Rourke lay beside her. He whispered, "This is your window." Hale's voice hissed on comms. "Take him." Sarah didn't answer. She watched the mirage twist over the water, watched the boy clutch the string, watched the man pause at the bend like he'd been there before. Her empty wallet pressed against her chest. Inside, the half-burnt photo of the kite boy. She thought of the blank slot. No face, no name. A deliberate vacancy. Maybe for this boy. Maybe for someone lost at 3:17. She whispered to herself, "Does hope fit inside this shot?" The wind leaned. Flags on the ridge tilted left. The kite jerked. Sarah adjusted a hair, barely enough to notice. She steadied her breathing. In, out. The barrel rose and fell with her chest. The valley felt silent, but it wasn't. She could hear the faint river murmur, the distant hum of insects, the sound of her own pulse arguing with the watch. Rourke said, "Backstop's clear." Clay and stone, nothing living. Sarah's cheek pressed the stock. Her finger kissed the trigger. The Barrett was alive under her hand, waiting to roar. Then another flash. Not from her scope. From the opposite ridge. A muzzle strobe, a rival shot cracked the night. The man in the tan jacket jerked. Not Sarah's bullet. Someone else's. He dropped on the river stones. The sound of impact came late, heavy and final. Sarah froze. Finger still curled. She hadn't fired. Hale's voice shouted through static. "Impact confirmed." But not ours. "Who else is here?" Rourke swung his glass toward the far ridge. Heat shimmered stone shadows. Then a silhouette. Another shooter. Long rifle. Long scope. Already breaking down the weapon with smooth hands. A ghost. Sarah's chest tightened. The watch ticked again. 3:19. She whispered, "Not my kill." The boy on the roof let the kite go. It soared loose, tail flashing against the stars. A free thing, no string, so no anchor. Sarah closed her eyes for one heartbeat. Relief. Rage. Something nameless. When she opened them, the opposite ridge was empty. The ghost had vanished. The rival rifle was gone. Hale's convoy scrambled, shouting orders, chasing ghosts through the comms. But Sarah didn't move. She set the Barrett safe. She folded the bipod. She placed the empty wallet on the closed range book. Rourke asked, "You all right?" Sarah shook her head, then nodded once. "Depends which ledger you read." She stood, Barrett across her shoulder. She didn't look back at the bend. She didn't need to. She had learned something harder than recoil. Hale stormed up the ridge, face like stone. "We needed your shot." Sarah looked at her, calm, cold. "You got one. You just didn't get mine." The broken watch ticked again. "Steady now." Time moving forward, second by second. Sarah started down the ridge, boots sinking into the dust. The road waited below, pale and endless. The dusty road she always followed. The one that remembered everything and forgave nothing. Rourke followed her, silent. Hale shouted orders behind them, but the desert swallowed the words. At the truck, Sarah set the Barrett case in the bed. She opened her wallet one last time. The photo slot stared back, still empty. She slid the burnt kite page out and let it drift away on the wind. It spun once, caught in the air, then vanished into the dark. She closed the wallet. "Some debts don't get paid," she said. Rourke asked softly, "And the ghost shooter?" Sarah glanced at the ridge. Nothing moved. No light, no sign. He gave the world one more second. She tapped the watch. 03:19, and she climbed into the truck. The engine turned. The dusty road stretched ahead like a scar, like a promise. The watch ticked again, and the story didn't end. It only moved forward.